back with our classes on why do we fall ill. We were talking about all important disease causing agents such as viruses, bacteria, protozoa, worms, etc. We are in page number 182. Correct number 182 ne? So now, why is it important that we think of these categories of infectious agent? The answer is that these categories are important factor in deciding what treatment to use. Members of each of these groups, virus, bacteria and so on, have many biological characteristics in common. All viruses, for example, live inside host cells, whereas bacteria very rarely do. Viruses, bacteria and fungi multiply very quickly, while worms multiply very slowly. Underline that. Taxonomically, all bacteria are closely related to each other than to virus. Each bacteria is related to some relationship with each other. Okay, this means that many important life processes are similar in the bacteria group but are not shared with the virus group. As a result, drugs that block one of these processes in one member of the group is likely to be effective against many other members of the group. But the same drug will not work against a microbe belonging to a different group. That is the reason why we say antibiotics will work against bacteria, but it will not work against a virus. Because all different bacteria also will have some features which will be similar to each other. Okay. For example, let us take antibiotics. They commonly block pathway important for bacteria. How do they block? Because that next part, most of the bacteria make a cell wall to protect themselves. The antibiotic penicillin blocks the bacterial process that builds the cell wall. As a result, the growing bacteria becomes unable to make cell walls and die easily. Human cells, we do not have a cell wall anyway. So penicillin cannot have any effect on us. Penicillin will have this effect on the bacteria that use such processes for making cell walls. Similarly, many antibiotics work against many species of bacteria rather than simply working against one. Please write there a question. Explain the working of antibiotic penicillin. Explain the working of antibiotic penicillin against bacteria. Against bacteria. Okay, so what does penicillin do? Each bacteria, when it comes and infests the organism or infests the host, it actually tries to build a cell wall around itself so that any medicines what you take should not affect the bacteria inside the cell wall. So what does penicillin do? Penicillin basically prevents the bacteria from making a cell wall. Let us imagine this is my bacteria. Okay? And what bacteria will do the moment it goes inside a host, it will make what? A kind of cell wall. So that it is well protected by all our enzymes, hormone, digestive juices, nothing should affect it. It will be well seated within its cell wall. So what does penicillin do? Penicillin actually prevents this bacteria from making this cell wall. When this bacteria does not have its basic protective shield or the cell wall, it will become weak and ultimately die. So, but all human cells do not have a cell wall. So it does not play any effect on the host cell. Here, how penicillin works, please underline there. Underline from many bacteria make a cell wall to protect themselves. The antibiotic penicillin blocks the bacterial processes that build the cell wall. As a result, growing bacteria becomes unable to make cell walls and die easily. Human cells do not have a cell wall anyway. So penicillin does not affect humans. Clear? So this is how antibiotics work against bacteria. Please write a 1 mark question. Name a drug which works against bacterial infections. Antibiotics. Name a drug that works against bacterial infections. Antibiotic. Now very important, the next paragraph. Please write above or below or besides the paragraph why antibiotics do not work against viral infections. Why antibiotics do not work against viral infections. Okay, so now we will study. But viruses do not use these pathways at all. That is the reason why antibiotics do not work against viral infection. If we have a common cold, taking antibiotic does not help or does not reduce the severity or the duration of the disease. However, if we also got a bacterial infection along with a viral cold, taking antibiotics will help. Even then, the antibiotic will work only against the bacterial part of the infection and not the viral infection. Albarili. Viruses, answer purple. Viruses do not have biochemical pathway of their own. Viruses do not have a biochemical pathway of their own. But they use all the biochemical pathway of the host. And hence, antibiotics do not work against viral infections. Hence, antibiotics do not work against viral infections. Clear? Artha aitappa eradu? So, bacterial infection adre we will always take what? Antibiotic. For example, if we take penicillin, penicillin basically makes the bacteria not to make its cell wall. As a result of it, the bacteria becomes weak and ultimately dies. The host, which are humans anyhow we do not have a cell wall. We all have what membrane? Cell membrane. So we do not have a cell wall. So penicillin do not have an effect on the host cells. It only kills the causing organism, that is the bacteria causing the disease. But viruses become living only when it reaches the host. In the air, it acts as what? Non-living. It is a link between living and non-living. It is non-living in the air but becomes living when it gets any host, any living organism. So it does not have a biochemical pathway of its own but uses the biochemical pathway of the host. So if you try to give any antibiotic, even the host cell will get damaged. So we cannot use viral antibiotics for what infections? Viral infections. So now, means of spread. How do infectious diseases spread? Many microbial agents can commonly move from an affected person to someone else in some ways or in varieties of ways. They can be communicated and so are called communicable diseases. So diseases which can spread are also called as what? Communicable diseases. Such disease-causing microbes can spread through air. This occurs through little droplets thrown out by an infected person who sneezes or coughs. Someone standing close by can breathe in these droplets and the microbes get a new chance or get a chance for a new infection. Examples of such diseases spread through the air are common cold, pneumonia and tuberculosis. Very airborne diseases. Airborne diseases. So what is cold, pneumonia and TB? Common cold, pneumonia and TB are spread through air. We all have had the experience of sitting near someone suffering from a cold and catching it ourselves. Classroom, particularly when the rainy season starts, all of you one round will fall sick because someone would have cold, someone would have cough, and they will come to school and spread the infection. Obviously, the more crowded our living conditions are, the more likely it is that such airborne diseases will spread. You go back home and then your younger or an elder sister will get, with whom you share your bed with, and then finally your mother, then father, and then grandparents. It happens if you see. Okay? Very important, figure 13.2. 13.2 mark madi to draw also. It has been asked once. What is it? Pathway of transmission of airborne disease. Figure 13.2 is pathway of transmission of or diagrammatic representation of airborne disease. Okay, so what air transmitted diseases are easier to catch the closer we are to the infected person. However, in closed area, the droplet nuclei recirculate and pose a risk to everybody. Overcrowded and poorly ventilated housing is therefore a major factor in the spread of airborne disease. Alle one question bari. What is the major factor for the spread of airborne disease? A diagram kelgadene bariro. What is the major factor for the transmission of airborne disease or for the spread of airborne disease? Major, specific factor, important factor. Two factors are there. What are the two factors? Overcrowding and poor ventilation. Overcrowded places and poor ventilation. Understood that figure? Now, we'll talk about waterborne. So, airborne diseases yeneno? Common cold, pneumonia and tuberculosis. Diseases can also be spread through water. This occurs if the excreta from someone suffering from an infectious gut disease such as cholera get mixed with the drinking water used by a people living nearby. Nowadays, this is very rare, okay, waterborne diseases, because all of us, or rather after Modi came, we do not have open excretory places because he has really spent a lot on Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and he has given quite a lot of money to people who did not have toilets in their houses, and he really has, taken an initiative from the Gram Panchayat level so that everyone in a village do not go and excrete out, because there is a lot of chance, and we, after being independent for so many years, shitting out in nature is really not correct. Okay, so for that reason, initially cholera was a big disease which had spread all over. This was because of everybody excreting it out. Okay. So, the cholera causing microbes will enter new hosts through the water they drink and cause diseases in them. Such diseases are much more likely to spread in the absence of safe supplies of drinking water. The sexual act, please underline waterborne disease, cholera, even dysentery. Okay. The sexual act is one of the closest physical contact two people can have with each other. Not surprisingly, there are microbial diseases, please underline. Syphilis and AIDS. These are called as what diseases? STDs. Is right. STDs, what do they mean? Sexually transmitted diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases. Yesterday only we talked about AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and syphilis. Okay. However, such sexually transmitted diseases are not spread by casual physical contact. Casual physical contact including handshakes or hugs or sports like wrestling or by any other ways in which we touch each other socially. Other than sexual contact, AIDS virus can also spread through blood-to-blood contact with the infected people or from an infected mother to her baby during pregnancy or through breastfeeding. Please write, what are the 4 different ways? What are the 4 different ways by which the AIDS virus can spread? AIDS virus na ಏನಂತೀವಿ? What is AIDS virus called as? HIV virus, human immunodeficiency virus. So if I have AIDS, if I have COVID, as I am called COVID positive. So if I have AIDS, I am called what? HIV positive. If I do not have AIDS, I am called what? HIV negative. Clear to here? So what are the 4 different ways? Please listen carefully. You should write in everything infected person. Okay, having sex with many partners anta baritira. You ellaru yadral marks hogutte ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. Having sex or having unprotected sex with many people ಜೊತೆಲಿ unprotected sex ಆದರೆ AIDS ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Only when there is an infected person it happens. So you should write what? Having unprotected sex with an infected person. First, sexual contact. Okay. Second, blood transfusion from an infected person. ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದರೂ. By having unprotected sex with an infected person. Second, blood transfusion from an infected person. Very, very important, which is not given in the textbook. Sharing of needles and syringes from an infected person. Drugs kelidiralla. You all know how drugs are taken. So if that person is infected and you share and use the same drug needle also, there is spread of AIDS. Okay, and from an infected mother to the child. From an infected mother to the child. 4 methods, Bhadra. Unprotected sex. Second will be from blood transfusion from an infected person. Use of same needles. Okay, from an infected person or with an infected person. And next from an infected mother to the child. We live in an environment that is full of many other creatures apart from us. It is inevitable that many diseases will be transmitted by other animals. Didn't we see lot of pictures of China's meat market when COVID came? Didn't we see them eating bats, eating different kinds of animals, and we said they eat all kinds of animals and that is why they get a lot of diseases. So this is what we are talking about. If we stay around with animals, you know, lot of people stay with pigs, lot of people stay with hens, lot of people stay with sheep, goat, cows, etc. So there are what happens, we become the final host and they become what host? Intermediate host. And when we eat them, okay, you will find that that meat will have that infected organism. Tapeworm, we all know we have stomach pain when we have tapeworm and all that. Tapeworm reaches us only through the pig. Because, you know, pig goes and moves around in all very weird places. Okay, and then with its feet, from its mouth, the tapeworm gets into the pig. And when you do not eat a properly cooked pork, there are chances that you will end up getting up what? Teniasis or tapeworms. Not only that, even palak, all those things also, where the tapeworm can easily be hidden and you do not really clean the soppu properly and eat a very beautiful palak paneer or something, you will tend to get up. And that is why if you really look into your houses, when the rain starts, your mother will avoid cooking greens. And if she is doing, she will make sure to see it upside down and remove one by one. There is a full process of cleaning that soppu only. And then only it is cooked, put in boiled water for some time and then cooked. And it is not eaten raw. Because that is the time when there are what? Tadpole, larva, everything will be present during that monsoon season. Okay? These animals carry the infecting agents from a sick person to the other potential host. These animals are thus the intermediaries and are called vectors. Very, very important. Define vectors. So the intermediate hosts which transmit the disease are called vectors. The commonest vector we know is mosquito. In many species of mosquito, the female needs a highly nutritious food in the form of blood in order to be able to lay mature eggs. Mosquitoes feed on many warm-blooded animals, including us. In this way, they can transfer diseases from one person to the other. So what are the things through which you can get? By air, by water, by food. We do not share food with an infected person. If you are having diseases like even fever and you have left something, nobody will eat what you have left in the plate. In the normal days, if you have left something, your brother or your mother may eat. But if you are sick and all, they will give you first of all very little. And if you have left, it is thrown out. So that some other animal eat, but nobody from the family will eat. So that they also should not, through food, it should not share. Then they will not hug you tightly or lot of things. You are kept, made to sleep in a separate place. Your pillow cover, your bed sheet, everything will be washed after a fever. So that through all those, the other person should not get infected. So these are the common methods from an infected person to a healthy person. First one by direct contact, second by air, third through liquid or clothes, by food, by mosquito, insect or by rabid animals. Clear? So what are vectors? Animals which act as intermediate hosts and spread the disease to the others are called as vectors. The most common example of vector is mosquito. Fine? Organ specific and tissue specific manifestation. That person who is entering my body should know where it has to go. It has to know which organ it has to affect. Otherwise, it simply can't go on a beat and then come out. No, what will be the use of it coming inside my body? So it should know which part of my body it should infect. The disease-causing microbes enter the body through different means. Where do they go then? The body is very large when compared to the microbes. So there are many possible places, organs or tissues where they could go. Do all microbes go to the same tissue or organ, or do they go to different ones? Different species of microbe seem to have evolved to home in on different parts of the body. This selection is connected to their point of entry. Very, very important. Please underline from here. If they enter from air or nose, they will go to the lungs. That is why what they tell you for COVID-19 also, steam inhalation, gargling, because if they are entering from air and the nose, what gets affected? First lungs, and that is why we say they have difficulty in breathing. The This is seen in bacteria causing tuberculosis. So tuberculosis affects basically our lungs. If they enter through the mouth, they can stay in the gut lining, underline, like the typhoid causing bacteria. Heard. If they can go to liver, then it will cause what? Jaundice, hepatitis A, hepatitis B are all related to liver. But this needn't to be always the case. An infection like HIV that comes into the body via the sexual organ will spread to the lymph node. Lymph node andre yenappa? As normally, you know, blood flows everywhere in our body, which is what in color? Red in color. So we have arteries and veins, correct? So yenagutte, this is my large artery. But when it reaches, suppose, an organ like stomach, this artery breaks into smaller arteries, which are called arterioles. Okay? And these arterioles then become one celled thick, and these are called what? Capillaries. Artha how blood goes. There will be one big artery which is called as the aorta. The aorta will branch into, suppose it is going to the stomach, so it is called as the gastric artery. Going to the kidney, it is called as the renal artery. So let us suppose it will break into smaller arterioles, and finally it will become one cell thick, which is called as capillaries. Correct? So now, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಜಾಗದಿಂದ ಅದೊಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಪಿಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes or no? When you pour from one liquid, one container to the other, don't you spill it if its lumen is not the same, if its opening is not the same. Same way what happens when blood is put through capillaries, through arterioles, some amount of it drains out from these arteries and veins into the open coelomic space, and that causes a second set of fluid which is called as what? Lymph. So we have two sets of fluid in our body, one which is blood and the other which is called as lymph. When two lymph vessels join together, they form what nodes? Lymph nodes. Illella nimge tumba kem bandu, when you have sinus, when you have lot of cough, you have fever, you yellow gantirutte. Don't you see your doctors check every time when you go for fever somewhere like this, and they check if there are any gantu here, and they will tell yenilla ma'am infection ide. Infection idre a lymph node ellelli iruttala adu swell agogutte. And once the infection comes down, the lymph nodes will automatically come back. So when you have AIDS infection, it goes from the sexual organ to the lymph nodes all over the body. Malaria causing microbes entering through the mosquito bite goes to the liver and then to the red blood cells. Important. Very, very important now this question. Japanese encephalitis or brain fever will similarly enter through a mosquito bite. So not only malaria, even Japanese encephalitis is also through what? Mosquito bite, which goes on to infect the brain. So gotaita, if it enters through nose and mouth, you basically will have lungs. It will finally reach the lungs and it will affect the lungs. If it is going from the mouth, it will affect what? Gut lining, and finally, example, typhoid. If it is going to the liver, jaundice. Okay. If it is HIV, sexual contact, through the sexual organ, it will go to the lymph node. Malaria will go from what? From the blood to the liver, from liver to the red blood cells. And Japanese encephalitis also will be caused by mosquitoes. So the vector for Japanese encephalitis is mosquito. The signs and symptoms of the disease will thus depend on the tissue or organ which the microbe targets. If the lungs are targets, the symptoms will be cough and breathlessness. If the liver is targeted, there will be jaundice. Jaundice will ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ? Yellow color. Other than that, what exactly is the prevention the doctor tells you during jaundice? And why do you get yellow color?
Urine will not get
Urine will not get jaundice is liver gets affected. What is the main function of our liver is liver basically. Huh?
Ma'am, it takes out the waste things from.
Can I give me time? Okay, so basically what happens is liver secretes a juice which is called bile juice. Okay, liver will always secrete bile juice. A bile juice to taste ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರ. ಯಾವಾಗ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರ ಹೇಳಿ? ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿ ಹೋಟೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದರು ಹಾಗೆ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಹೊಡೆದಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಟಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಟಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂಥರ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ which is very huly and bad, but you feel nice after it comes out. That is nothing but what? Okay, and it is having lot of salts in it. So bile salts are all what in color? Yellow. So jaundice means what gets affected? Liver gets affected, and that is why we will have deposition of these salts. As it not gets flushed out of your body, as a result of it, you get all your nails, skin, urine, everything becomes what in color? Yellow in color. And at that time, the doctor strictly tells you not to eat even a little bit of oil. Hengu uta kodtare, ella boiled uta kodtare. Okay, even during hepatitis. The reason is, the main function of bile juice is, whatever oil we eat, no, it is big molecule, very big fat molecules. Under ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್? C20, C80, C25, C35 ಕಾರ್ಬನ್. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹಂಗೆ ಜೀರ್ಣಿಸ್ಕೊ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. That is, I am not a kumbhakard to eat it like that. So it needs to be broken down into छोटे pieces so that it can be absorbed by my intestine. So bile takes all the fat what we eat. You eat so much of fat, oil, butter, cheese, pizza, burgers, mayonnaise or other, whatever you eat. So all that contains what? Lot of fat. Curds contain fat, milk and cream it contains fat. Now ಏನು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಗ್ಗರಣೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಆ ಬೈಲ್ ಜ್ಯೂಸು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ನ छोटा ಪಾರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as what? Emulsification. Not needed to know, but I am telling you. 10th you hate ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, so breaking of large fat molecule into smaller parts. So this is done by the bile juice. So if you eat anything and your liver is affected, you will puke. You cannot digest. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ 20 days or 25 days, depending upon the severity of infection, you will not be allowed to even eat little bit of oil. If you eat, it relaxes. So liver has to be, they will give you certain medicines during jaundice to increase and to make your liver better so that you start functioning normally. Okay? So if the brain is the target, we will have headache, vomiting, fits and unconsciousness. You know, when you fall flat on your head while cycling or from the gadi, the doctor asks first thing, no, did you vomit? Did you become unconscious? That is the first thing which is asked, because they will come to know whether your brain has been injured or not. We can imagine what the symptoms and signs of the infection will be if we know what the target tissue or organ is and the functions that are carried out by this tissue or organ. In addition to these tissue-specific effects of infectious disease, there will be other common effects also. Most of these common effects depend on the fact that the body's immune system is activated in response to infection. In you have learned that whenever I have been infected, the army, which is called as what cells? White blood cells move to that particular place and try to fight the infection. If the white blood cells win, you will not have any fever or anything. If it loses, you get infected and you need medicines. Okay? An active immune system recruits many cells to the affected tissue to kill off the disease. The recruitment process is called what? Inflammation. As a part of this process, there are local effects such as swelling and pain and general effect such as fever. Please write what is the first response of the immune system to fight infection? What is the first response of immune system to fight infection? Please underline. An active immune system recruits many cells to the affected tissue to kill off the disease-causing microbes. This process is called inflammation. Inflammation is swelling and redness most of the time, such as swelling and pain, and general effects such as fever. In some cases, the tissue specificity of the infection leads to be very general seeming effect. For example, in HIV infection, the virus goes to the immune system and damages its function. That is why it is called as what? Immunodeficiency. Immune system e kelsa madalla alli. Okay. Thus, many of the effects of HIV/AIDS are because the body can no longer fight off the minor infections that we face every day. Instead, every small cold can become pneumonia. Similarly, a minor gut infection can produce major diarrhea with blood loss. Ultimately, it is these other infections that kill people suffering from HIV/AIDS. So, AIDS alli enagutte. Let us not talk about AIDS caused by wrong reasons. Let us talk about an AIDS child. Okay? An AIDS kid will be born by birth with AIDS because his mother had given it to him unknowingly. Okay? And that child also is exactly similar like you. If he or she gets all good conditions of clean environment, clean water, clean sanitation, he or she will also grow up. But the problem what happens to them is they do not have a very good immune system. As you can manage cold, with no medicine at all. The simple cold will turn into pneumonia for him and he will be admitted. So what happens is they really do not die of AIDS, but they die of these chota diseases which ultimately become big because their body is not in any position to fight infections because they have what deficiency? And immunodeficiency. So they actually do not die because of the disease, but because the disease has weakened their immune system, any small cut or any small disease, namge cut agutte, we don't put anything and it heals. Yes or no? Tumba jasti problem adre onchu kobbri enne hachತಾರೆ or vaseline hachತಾರೆ. But for them, that cut will turn up into a wound will have pus formation will increase, sometimes hands will be amputated. So like that, chota sa thing will become very bad, and because of that and major complication associated with that, they will die. It is important to remember that the severity of disease depends on the number of microbes in the body. If it is small, the disease may go unnoticed or minor. ಇದನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಈಗ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ asymptomatic patients. If the number of microbes are less, you will really not come to know that you suffered the disease also. It will come and go. But if the number of the same microbe is large, the disease can be severe enough to be life-threatening. What is the problem one for people who do not come to know? Either their immune system is very strong, or what will happen? They will have very less number of microbes. The immune system is a major factor that determines the number of microbes surviving in the body. We shall look into this aspect a little later in the chapter. Okay, now principles of treatment. What are the steps taken by your family when you fall sick? Have you ever thought why you sometimes feel better if you sleep for some time? Everybody feels better if you are allowed to sleep. When does the treatment involve medicine? Based on what we learned so far, it would appear that there are two ways to treat an infectious disease. One, to reduce the effect of the disease, and other to kill the disease. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ವಿ ಸೇ one way it is called as bacteriostatic. Bacteriostatic ಅಂದರೆ you just want, you do not want to control, you just want to manage the disease. And another one is to kill the basic causing organism, bactericidal and bacteriostatic control. So first thing, please write, what are the two ways to treat an infectious disease? Write a question there. What are the two ways to treat an infectious disease? First, to reduce the effect of the disease, and second, to kill the cause of the disease. So fever ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾವು ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಪ್ಪ? ಪ್ಯಾರಾಸಿಟಮಾಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. What does paracetamol do? It not only brings down your body temperature, but also brings down pain and inflammation. When you simply fake a headache and you are not budging, what does your mother do? She gives you half Crocin and asks you to go and sleep. Yes or no? Most of the time. When you are too irritating, you are not ready to go to school and you say, no, I have really fever, you touch and see and all that. She knows you are faking it. But just to satisfy you, she will take half Crocin, all pain will go. If you had a basketball match or a football match before and you are really hurt and tired, that is the only remedy we tell. Go take hot bath, take half a medicine, have some good milk, hot milk, and go and sleep. And after 2 hours, you will be fit and fine, isn't it? So first thing, these symptoms are usually because of inflammation. We can take medicine that bring down fever, reduce pain or lose motion. We can take bed rest so that we can conserve our energy. This will enable us to have more of it available to focus on healing. But this kind of symptom-directed treatment by itself will not make the infecting microbe go away and the disease will not be cured. We need to be able to kill off the microbe. So to kill microbes we require what? Antibiotics. They are classified as virus, bacteria, fungi or protozoa. Each of them have an essential biochemical life process which is peculiar to their group that is not shared with the others. These processes may be pathways or synthesis of new substances or respiration. These pathways will not be used by us either. For example, our cells may make new substance by a mechanism different from those that used by bacteria. We have to find that drug that blocks the bacterial synthesis pathway without affecting our own. This is what is achieved by the antibiotic that we are familiar with. There are drugs that kill protozoa such as the malarial parasite. Malarial parasite ಹೆಸರು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ? Plasmodium. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ನೋಡಿಪ್ಪ, ನಾವು ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಲಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಈಗ some infection is there, some bacteria is there. So what we do is, this bacteria will have an active site, something like this, in its body. Okay, so antibiotic hogi ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? It mimics that bacteria and exactly blocks this active site of the bacteria by releasing the chemical which exactly mimics the shape of the bacteria. As a result, it stops and the bacterial activity dies. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಈಗ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕರ್ವೇಚರ್ ಇದೆ, ಈ ಕರ್ವೇಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಕರ್ವೇಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಹೋಗಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಏನು? ಆಂಟಿಬಯೋಟಿಕ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಎನಿ ಬಯೋಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಪಾತ್ವೇ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಕಿಲ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ. ಮುಚ್ಚಳ ಹಾಕೋತಾರೆ. If it is present, it will make it airtight so that there is no movement. As a result of it, it will not get the basic conditions which are required for it to multiply and ultimately will die. So, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ first? All appa amma bacteria will die, but they would have reproduced chotas, and that is why you will have a dose of an antibiotic for 2 days, for 3 days, for 5 days, for 7 days, depending upon your infection. Okay? Now again, antiviral medicines, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. Why it is difficult to make antiviral medicine? We They enter our cells and use our machinery of their life process. This means there are relatively few virus-specific targets to aim at. Despite this limitation, there are now effective antiviral drugs. For example, the drugs that keep the HIV under control. But in general, for common cold, cough and all, no, nothing is given. Okay. Principles of prevention we will do in the next class. Thank you.